Alright, e-commerce people, it's finally the back half of Q1, which means that consumer behavior is still on its glorious rise towards the summertime, which means we can finally flip the script and get right back into acquiring new customers. Last week we focused on YouTube acquisition and Facebook retargeting. Today, let's flip that script and figure out how we can use Facebook acquisition in all its myriad forms to build a robust cohort of audiences leading us into Q2. That's all ahead on this week's game plan. Hello, hi, and welcome once again to this week's game plan, a weekly series where the brilliant performance marketers here at Mute6 take you through everything you need to scale your e-commerce business channel by channel, week by week. This week, we're finally in the back half of Q1, which means, yes, consumer behavior is rising towards more buying behavior, getting back to normal, a normalization that usually happens during the spring sales in March. We know this because humans are deeply cyclical creatures. Behold the typical internet consumer. As they rise out of the doldrums of the winter rest, they think more and more about acquiring things that can help them achieve their goals. Look at this one, searching on their computer. What are they searching for? Perhaps a bicycle so they can achieve their fitness goals this spring. Maybe a melodica so they can finally achieve a creative expression they've just been yearning to despite their new corporate life. Witness as they go out into the wilds of the e-commerce wilderness. What will they find there? What a fascinating journey we have in the back half of Q1 going towards March. And so as consumer behavior continues to ramp up towards March, you have to start thinking about your spring sales, which means you have to start acquiring customers en masse. And the best engine for customer acquisition is, and always will be, probably, Facebook. There's just a myriad way of discovering as many different audiences as possible. And to take you through the complexities of that, we're going to go ahead and talk to Caroline Spence, VP of Paid Social here at Mute6.
I can't highlight enough having a good stock of audiences in your back pocket to run as we go into spring. I always recommend having an audience planner, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet or just a document somewhere with a collection of every imaginable audience. So don't be afraid to come up with some very off-the-wall ideas in terms of TV programs people watch, magazines or publications that they read, maybe foods they're interested in, different age groups, different income groups, different fashion brands, beauty brands, retailers, all of those sorts of things. Just have a collection and go wild with it. Don't restrict yourself. And then what you can do with those audiences, I really recommend trying CBO if you haven't already. Use it to test audiences because you can then build out different campaigns with audiences of like sizes. And I say like sizes because Facebook will usually shift budget towards the highest or largest audience in that campaign. So what you're going to want to do is put all of the audiences of similar size in a campaign with CBO and set the budget for that campaign and see how Facebook distributes the budget between the audiences based on their relative success. And I guarantee you will find some great hidden gems within those audiences. And spring's definitely the time to do it. So think festivals, think new beauty interests, think retailers that you haven't considered before, think different publications, like I said. You will find some gold, but I highly recommend testing CBO during this time.
And while you're going through all these different lookalike audiences and going through this customer acquisition process, you need to keep in mind one very important principle. I basically say it every month here on this week's game plan, but it's very important to reiterate again and again and again. You are not acquiring an audience, you're discovering one. Your brand only exists in the mind of your consumers, and there is no better laboratory for understanding who your customers are than the Facebook acquisition engine. So do not be afraid of a myriad of different tests. Test everything, find every possible audience, find an ad set that works, then find an audience that works for it better. And then keep moving those two levers as you discover new audiences and discover new ways to talk to them. Doing it this way in an incremental fashion is how you grow and scale your account in a way that is sustainable, not in one where you just keep plying the same audience until your CPAs tank. Or rather, rise so high that your revenues tank. Whatever, math is hard, I'm a words guy, fight me. With all of that in mind though, there's still a lot you can be doing to both acquire and retarget customers in the Google platform. And to take you through that, we're gonna once again talk to Gustav Dahl, our Director of Paid Search here at Mute6.
So, I mean, first rule of thumb, like with Facebook, we really have to focus on segmenting our marketing funnels based on user actions on the website. So anyone who added the cart, based on the recency of their visit, if they reached the checkout page, and so on. In terms of search, a good strategy is to create a campaign simply for marketing, only targeting your marketing pool, and then bidding on broader keywords, because you are limiting your targeting to users who have already shown an interest in your brand. And in that campaign, you can also have customized ad copy, calling out, for instance, a first customer discount. And you can also be more aggressive with your bidding, because you are only targeting that group of users who have been to your site before. In terms of the display network, really the big focus there is to just exclude poor quality placements. And one of those placements that don't tend to perform well are apps. We also recommend just excluding any controversial sites for brand safety. And that really applies to YouTube as well, just focusing on quality placements.
And that's essentially it. We're going to see this rise continue until about the middle of March, until it levels off a bit. So you need to be acquiring as many customers as possible now before the competition gets too steep. But as long as you make sure that you're discovering your audience and testing different kinds of creative to different kinds of audience, you're going to do an amazing job of scaling and getting ahead of the competition this spring. So all you got to do is stick to the plan, and that's been this week's game plan. Thank you so much. Thanks for sticking around for our end screen here. Please, as always, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of the YouTube things. Make sure you also check us out at mute6.com/live and get on our email list so we can hit you up with other kinds of content. Maybe check out our podcast as well. And as always, we like to leave you with peace, love, and ROI.